Lately, I have been trying to find little pockets of joy. With the somewhat chaotic start to our summer, it was beginning to feel like life would never slow down. We had birthday parties, long hot car rides, several visits to the ER for minor but unfortunate illnesses and accidents, and the chaos just never stopped. And I realized more than ever that slow living has to be very intentional in every way. From creating a calmer environment to decluttering regularly, to choosing slower days and realizing that not every summer memory has to be made with faraway trips, to slowing down my everyday life and choosing more little moments of joy, baking cookies, foraging the plethora of wild herbal and edible plants here, creating art, and generally just paying more attention to how life ebbs and flows around me. Every moment of slow living is intentional, and I am learning that as I go. What works for me may not work for others, but with my propensity to always be busy, learning to slow down has been imperative lately. Seeking joy, calm, and creativity are important to me these days. When we moved here 5 years ago, the first thing I noticed was a wealth of blue flowers growing everywhere in our yard and fields.
Get some water.
After purchasing a foraging book for the Pacific Northwest, I learned that they are camas and were a staple food of the indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest for thousands of years. Reading more into what is harvestable here, I discovered we also have a wealth of the medicinal plant yarrow. The crushed plant has been applied to wounds and burns to help stop bleeding and heal skin, and yarrow is also commonly used for eczema in balms. The dried leaves can also be used in tea to help soothe colds, fever, and a headache, and contain chemicals that may stop stomach cramps and fight infection. If you are interested in finding the book that I use to identify plants, I will link it down below. It is a beautiful resource and makes foraging very easy. In finally going out to harvest the beautifully herbal yarrow, I discovered to my joy that the plant has multiplied tenfold since we moved here, and pink varieties are beginning to show up. I don't know that there is any medicinal difference between the two colors, but it is beautiful, and I tried to leave as many pink ones as possible to encourage more growth next year. Everything about the yarrow plant is usable, including the leaves, stems, flowers, and roots. So nothing is wasted when you are harvesting a yarrow plant.
She's ready for you.
Unfortunately, after all of my work to dry my yarrow harvest, I discovered I hadn't dried them long enough and they'd begun to mold in their jars. So I opted to harvest a few more because we have so much, and I hung them to dry instead. Hopefully this will keep them from molding, and I can try a few recipes with the herb that I will share here once I do. Choosing simplicity to me means making do with what we have, not running out to purchase the next grand thing, but choosing to make things instead if we can. For a few years, my kids have been begging me to recreate a simple little play kitchen that we had constructed out of random fence pieces when we first moved here. The original iteration wasn't nailed together and eventually fell apart as it was used and moved and loved. Funny enough, the opportunity to make a sturdy one began in the aftermath of the emergency repairs we had done on our septic drainage field. After the company had finished the job, they asked if I wanted to keep a pallet they'd used to cart in new pipes, and I immediately accepted. But I had to wait a little while because I didn't want to buy a new pallet, and I wanted to wait until I could find another one for free. The second pallet came when our neighbor replaced the roof, and thus the play kitchen was born. I constructed the entire thing by hand, and my kids took no time at all putting out all of their plastic food toys to enjoy on warm summer days. This project was really a great reminder that so many good things will come to those who wait, and that choosing to live within our means and make as much as we can secondhand brings so much more fulfillment than hitting a button to click purchase now. Not only did I get to exercise my creativity, but I became more confident in using the tools I needed to get the job done. Patience has been a theme this summer. When I was pregnant with my last baby, I did a big house purge, and one of the items I chose to get rid of was the kitchen table I had scavenged off the side of the road. It was large and didn't quite fit the space of the kitchen, but I really loved having a kitchen table. I regretted that decision soon thereafter, and to this day, it's the only thing that I regret having purged from my house. Until a few weeks ago. I searched for nearly a year online and in person to find a vintage table I could afford, but prices are not low and most of the things were far out of my budget or required more work than I could take on. But if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen that just 2 weeks ago I finally found a vintage table, and she is the table of my dreams. She did come with some stains on top that took quite a bit of elbow grease to get rid of, but that's okay. If you're curious, I started with a simple spray cleaner, then moved on to baking soda scrub, and then a magic eraser, then tried acetone because it's some sort of substance on the top. I tried Goo Gone, and that didn't work. I tried a knife to scrape off the residue, and finally an SOS pad. Much to my satisfaction, the stain is now almost completely gone. There will be so many memories made at this table, and her worn, imperfect surface is the best reminder of the life she's already lived and the memories my children will make around her. With all of the upheaval of the beginning of our summer, I am constantly reminded that where I am in my motherhood and homemaking journey should not be compared to anyone else. I have come so far in making this house a home, but some days when the laundry piles up and the decluttering takes over the dining room and it feels like there are impossibly big problems to solve in the flow of our house and daily routine, I am overwhelmed. I spiral down the rabbit hole of comparing myself to other homemakers online, and I let myself get a little too wrapped up in what should be instead of what is. In filming this video, I tried to capture everything about my home and journey that I love. Picking wildflowers, learning about nature, making things for my kids, forging new memories, and creating a warm, inviting space in my home that I hope everyone will remember for a long time. These days, the laundry is almost always piled on the couch to be folded, the floors always need sweeping, and the dishes are never done. But that's okay. Because someday my house will be emptier and cleaner and less full of little voices and sticky hands and running feet, and I want to cherish these days as fully as I can while they happen. As always, I hope that wherever you are feeling cherished and safe and loved by whomever is around you. I hope that you find value in what you do every day and that you know you are loved. Thank you so much for joining me this week, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!